Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome back to the channel. Crimsonpanda here with another Mercenary Meta video. Before we get started, I just want to apologise for my voice. I am still feeling a little bit under the weather, so if my voice seems a little bit crackly, then I do apologise in advance. Hopefully I get better soon and my voice will return to normal. But in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at all of the highest win rate comps across all MMR ranges. So we're going to start from all players and work our way through to top 50, top 20 and then top 10. And we filtered it to the highest win rate. And what I like doing as well is putting it to the most minimal games possible, just in case there's an up and coming comp here. So as you can see, the very first comp here only has 100 game sample size. So if we change that to 200, that comp wouldn't be there. So I like putting it down to 100 just so we can see how well some of these new comps are doing. So with that being said, let's take a look at these win rates. So our very first comp here, we have Brucon, Malfurion, Nemzi, Cookie, Ysera and Bane. So this one is looking like a very new nature build. So the idea behind this one, it seems, is that you're using Boggy Moss to bring out a Boggy, try and protect some of your units, and then using obviously the Malfurion heals with Light Root Staff. Brucon's obviously got the Chain Lightning for the value there, and then in the late game it's looking like we're still pairing up Nature, having the Cookie to buff the whole party, and then using Ysera to be able to do a really fast Bane with the third ability, and then being able to do those big AoEs as well with the dream cards. So doing very well on ladder at the moment. So 71.4% win rate, so it's huge compared to the one just below that. It is a very new comp, so people probably don't really know what to expect when they're going up against it, which is probably the reason why it's so high at the moment. But yeah, definitely try this one out. It's got Lightning Rod, Light Root Staff, Bog Moss, Appetizers, Emerald Majesty and Totemic Mastery is the equipment. So feel free to pause the video or rewind the video to get that comp for yourself to try out on ladder. Okay, now moving on, so we have here an Arcane build with, once again, the Ysera nature package here with Bane and Ysera, but this time they're using Tyrande as well, so you can actually use Tyrande in the late game to double up the AoE with Ysera, to double up the AoE with Bane, and you could actually speed up the Bane really fast and double it up if there's like some sort of way you can speed Ysera up prior to that so that it doesn't get the second nature ability cast. So yeah, very interesting backline there with the Tyrande using the Band of the Wilds. As of the opener, you have just full arcane package, so Medivh using his unstable runes to try and counter a lot of those first turn like Trigors and Valera attacks. Blink Fox obviously using the Arcane Fling for absolutely huge damage versus Lokalars, and then Khadgar using the Bitter Chill so that you can root turn 1, buff turn 2 and then have Archmage Khadgar by turn 3. So this one, bigger sample size here, we have 650 games played. Obviously that's going to be more. HS replays is usually about a week behind, so this is obviously going to be, if people know about this comp, which I'm sure they do, this is going to be obviously a lot higher. The win rate could go up, could go down, but 64.5 is a very solid win rate. So yeah, definitely recommend that. What's nice about these comps as well is we're having new mercenaries added to them, so it is freshening up the game a lot more. So that's what I like to see. Next up, we have a Frost comp. So we have Lokalar, Nemzi and Khadgar. And then on the bench, once again, we're seeing that nature kind of backline with Tyrande and Bane being able to do that big 50 AoE. Huge sample size here of 1,000 games, 61% win rate, very, very solid. Sinestro in there being another green. I guess this person that made the comp obviously wanted to do a 2-2-2 format here with the 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 greens. So people don't really know what to expect when you see that. It could be any comp really. So you got Lokalar and Khadgar being the frost guys, so using the frigid winds allows the blizzard to just do insane damage, and then obviously Nemzi there to try and protect, I imagine, the Lokalar, because of people always want to target the Lokalar down, so having the Boggy there prevents the Valera attacks and the speed shenanigans going all in on Lokalar or all in on Khadgar. So Nemzi's Boggy being able to absorb some of that damage as well, so Nemzi turning out to be as solid as Khadgar in this new bunch of mercenaries. Okay, next up we have an old school comp. We're not going to go too much into this, but it is Anaconda, Yulong and Cho, so obviously the Viper package, and then the Nature backline, which we have seen before. So I'll go through the equipment just in case anyone wants to play this one, but this hasn't got any new mercs, so we're not going to go too much into it. So 170 games played, so apparently it's quite a new comp. It isn't, maybe the equipment have changed. 60% win rate still solid, so we got the Signet of the Wilds to restore health, we got the J5 Spear to restore health, Slash Scrolls take less damage, Brambles, which is now Battlecry heal, Light Roof Staff for heals, and Appetizers for just more health. So nothing really new there. It's still a very fun comp. N'Zoth is very scary versus Viper, and with Khadgar as well, he is able to perma-freeze after the second turn, so the Viper doesn't really get any value of any attacks unless you can speed it up, which you unfortunately cannot in this lineup here. Okay, next we have another Frost comp. This one instead is running Belinda instead of Nemzi. Everything else is the same apart from there's a Cookie and a Toronde, so 2 mercs swapped out. Oh, actually, yeah, it is. Yeah, of course it is, because the Sinestra and the Totem Bane. So yeah, I guess the Toronde wasn't doing it for most people with the Bane, so they put Cookie in there to try and protect their opener a little bit more. So they're not running Nemzi, so instead of taking a 7 less damage and having a Boggy, they're using a Belinda for a freeze, and then having Cookie try and buff them up instead of having Nemzi reduce damage. So similar comp, still using the Frigid Winds and the Bitter Chill, using the Water Elemental because it's the best one, and then the same standard backline as well here. 710 games, 60% win rate, still very, very good. Old school old gods, so this one hasn't changed at all. So you've got Yulong, N'Zoth, Yashiraj, Vulgin Cthulhu, Maestra, 850 games, 60% win rate. Very good if you want to run the old gods. Obviously this is just a standard old god. This does get through a lot of stuff with the Rage Unbound. Old gods are still very scary in the meta, so yeah, keep your eye out for this one. N'Zoth obviously does a lot of stuff with tokens and able to nick your tokens. Yashiraj gets absolutely huge and gives everything huge attack, and then having an extremely strong Cthulhu in the late game is obviously a very scary sight as well. Maestra getting value off of the bench because of Yogg as well. Just very, very good synergies with the old gods still. So that will wrap it up for all players. Let's head over and take a look at some of this different percentage now. Okay, so top 50 here, so I don't think a lot changes there. There's only a couple comps from top 50, so old gods have got increasingly better. So 64.0 is the win rate now, not the 60%. So the higher up you go in the MMR, the stronger the old gods seem to be getting. 710 games still, so it is the exact same comp as we just saw on all players. But the two standout comps at the moment are these two here. So having the Brucon Nature with Ysera and Bane. I think the Ysera Bane combo at the minute, being able to speed up Bane, doing 50 damage to all of those greens really does matter. Being able to obviously do fast AoE is just really good in the late game because a lot of their stuff is obviously wounded quite a lot. And then once again with the Toronde being able to double that up if you just want to go for a Dreamcast or something with Ysera, or even do the 4 speed from Ysera onto Toronde to speed that up for the next turn, is very, very, very strong at the moment by the looks of these win rates and the amount of games played. The token build, the one that we didn't want to go into too much with the Viper, this has made a way up. So this one is obviously better the higher up you go. So if you don't have many of the new mercs and you want to play this one, the higher up your MMR, so this is 4,900, it is getting a little bit stronger in terms of win rate. And then we have the Naga, so this is an old style build, so obviously we have the 320 wins, so there must be something here that's changed from the traditional Naga build. But you got Queen Azura with the staff to heal with Shadow, you've got the Death Rattle on Reno, and you got the Oasis Canteen with Elise, and then you've got the Yashiraj and the Athena with the Bane on the bench as well to just do massive AoE with these Nagas in the late game. Bane running the totem, Athena running the Naga with taunt, and then the passive when Nagas take 4 less damage before they act. So very strong backline with the Nagas. People don't really expect it that much, especially with all the new mercenaries, but this one has made a climb up the higher up the ranks. So if you don't, once again, have any of the new mercs, or you don't have them ready for PvP, then this is a solid comp to go for. And then falling down a little bit, we have the Frost with the Tyrande Bane package again, with the Nemzi. And then just below that is obviously the Frost version of the same thing, apart from a couple of swap outs we just spoke about. And then we have obviously Old Gods down here, but that's obviously not the Old Gods up here. So this one here is a little bit different. It is running the Defiled attack instead of the Rage Unbound. So definitely run the Rage Unbound if I was you. Here at 55% win rate, so getting back into the 50s now, 230 game sample size, we have a Frost build. So this is full Frost, so we have the Varden Jaina Localite opener, and then it's the Belinda, the sub in for the first merc that dies for Frost, and then the Tyrande Bane Nature double whammy AoE package on the bench. So I think the reason why this has dropped in win rate and why there's not too many games played is because of all the new mercs. Having Khadgar and Frost now is just a lot better than having Jaina, even though Jaina scales. I guess having Khadgar, he just does a little bit more and targets specific comps more as well. So being able to root everything with Khadgar is just better than being able to just gain +3 frost damage when Localite is doing all of the frost scaling for you. So it's no surprise to me seeing this one drop a little bit in win rate. We'll do one more here. We'll do the Trigor build, because Trigor obviously hasn't made an appearance yet. 380 games played, 55.3% win rate, and it is a Valera Trigor Nefaria build, something we're all very familiar with. And then Karen, Tyrande, and Longzin. So Karen there to speed up the Tyrande Arcane Slavo turn. So Longzin obviously going to scale up, so he doesn't, if he takes damage, Tyrande, he's obviously going to deal damage to opponents. And then Karen is going to speed up Tyrande to be able to get that next attack in at 2 speed, being able to hopefully clear off your opponent's board. Obviously the Trigor summoning the dragons, being a beast, is going to help with the Longzin, like we're all aware of. 55.3% win rate, not very strong in my opinion. Okay, now let's move on to the top 20. So a little bit of a change here with the top 20. So we have still dominating the win rate at the moment. I think it's because it's a very new comp. It is at 71.4, the Nature Yasharaj and Nemzi type comp here that we spoke about at the start of the video. Just behind that is the Old Gods. So Old Gods have overtaken in the top 20% win rate the Arcane build here, so only slightly. The game sample size is lower, so this win rate will probably drop below this by the time it reaches the same amount of games, but Old Gods still very, very strong. Then we have the Nagas creeping up here. The other Old Gods is creeping up as well, and then the Trigor build creeping up. This is 59.9% win rate now. And then going into where the 56 here, so this is another new comp using the Malkazar and Khadgar Ysera, so 3 new mercs. So we'll take a look at this one. So we have Elise with Oasis, we have Malkazar with Pyring Blade, Khadgar with Bitter Chill, and then on the bench it's Ysera, Bane, and Maestra. So the idea behind this comp is obviously Elise is going to buff the board. Then you have Prince Malkazar with a 3-speed parry, a 3-speed first ability, and his battle cry is going to permanently reduce casters and protectors by 10 attack. And then Khadgar, obviously there with Bitter Chill, being able to root any attacking comps at the start of the game or go for a buff to make Prince Malkazar a little bit bigger. So this is obviously going to attack in at 3 speed, which is going to bring out Maestra. Maestra is then going to attack as well. And then the fun thing about that is when one of your units dies, you get to bring back in Prince Malkazar and do his battle cry again. And then in the late game, you're going to have your Ysera Bane combo, where you can make Bane's AoE that is originally 10 speed go to a 5 speed and deal 50 damage to greens or 25 to everything else, resetting all of their cooldowns as well. So very solid little end game and a very fun opening comp as well. Not showing too much potential as far as win rate, but definitely a fun comp to play. So that's about it for top 20. So we'll take a look at top 10 now. So it doesn't appear... Okay, there's one thing that's changed that I can see, and that is the old gods have fallen again. Not the Idol of Yasharaz one, that one is still very much solid, but it is, this one here is taking over. The Frost Nemzi with the nature backline has gone up, whereas the other old gods has completely dropped. So I can't even see where that one's gone, but yeah, that one has dropped a lot. So it is really those top 4 comps here which are really dominating. So the Naga one's still, personally I'm not a fan, but it's putting in the win rate. Not many games played, so very difficult. You probably won't run into it on ladder, but if you do, it's going to be a hard matchup to win. And then what's gone up even more in the top 10% from top 20 is this new build. So people who are playing this build are playing it in the top 10 range because that's where the win rate has increased. So very, very good, trying to push people over to the 10k mark so they can get the chest. We have obviously the Brucon, Malfurion, Nemzi, Cookie, Ysera and Bane. So interesting to see how well that does, and to be honest, I want to try that out myself. I haven't played this comp, so I'm definitely going to be trying that one out very, very soon. So what I'm going to do in this top 10 as well, so we've gone through all of these comps. I just want to scroll down to see if there's anything new that stands out, and just talk a little bit about those as well. So we have an old school here, we have a Grommash taking over so that we can slow some stuff down. The Lyra Trigor build, and then the Permafrost backline, because of you're going to slow something down with Grommash doing his staggering slam, and then Valera is going to attack. Obviously Trigor will have his backlash already activated, so Valera's going to attack, Trigor's going to deal damage, going to bring out Maestra, Maestra's going to attack, Trigor will deal damage again, and then you have a stealth Valera in the late game, being able to benefit from Varden, Cold Snap, and Belinda having a 1-speed water elemental. So very annoying comp. I have done a video of this comp. I'm not sure if I was using Grommash at the time, but it was an old video. I called it most annoying comp, I think. So yeah, very, very frustrating having that perma-freeze in the late game. I recommend trying that out if you haven't already. And then another take on it, they've subbed out the Grommash and put in one zombie. So he obviously is a new mercenary, so I would always recommend playing that one. If you don't have it maxed or PvP ready, then obviously go for Grommash. But yeah, same principle here. You're going to 1-speed everything, either target Zambi or bounce, and then you're going to Trigor Valera to bring out the Maestra. And then if you bounce with one zombie, obviously you can do the exact same thing again, bringing out the Maestra, getting a lot of value off of that because it's going back to your bench, and you can bring the same 3 starters out again. So it's just a very nice way using Zambi to bounce back Maestra to the bench to get more value. And then in the late game, Stealth Valera and Permafreeze. So I think that just about wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys have liked this one. There will be more like this in the coming weeks once people have got more mercenaries used, like Tess for example, and Gen. Maybe they'll slip their way into the meta somehow. But yeah, this is episode 13 of Mercenary Meta. Please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode or any other videos, and I will see you in the next one.